Hey guys, how y'all doing? So today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of the Vevor 20 gallon oil drain dolly. And the reason why I bought this is because my Harbor Freight 5 gallon dolly that I've been using over the years, it served me well. But what ended up happening was I ended up moving it outside of our garage, and I put it like next to the garage in the alley because I needed to move it out of the way. And I totally forgot it was out there overnight, and then obviously the next morning, well, it was gone. So I took this as an opportunity to be able to upgrade to something a little bigger and better. Not that the 5 gallon didn't serve me well, because this is my home garage and everything, but looking at the price point of another 5 gallon oil dolly and then the 20 gallon, it was only about a $40 difference. And one of the things that was a challenge for me with the 5 gallon one was when it came to emptying the oil out once it was like 80% full. It could get messy, and not to mention that the dolly was on the heavier side. So upgrading to this Vevor 20 gallon pneumatic oil drain dolly should solve all of those problems. Okay, so this is the box that it came in, as you see. Well, it calls it an oil extractor. I already opened the box because I wanted to make sure that the parts were in there, but it was packaged really well. So you've got some styrofoam up here on top, and then right here they have it wrapped in some kind of, looks like plastic wrap, but this is the actual funnel here. This is, I believe, 15 inches in diameter, going across. And then this bag has a bunch of accessories in. I'm going to actually open this and spread everything out so that you can see it. And then the rest is the tank itself. Let's see if I can pull this out. Okay, there we go. Alright. Yep, there's the tank itself. Okay, so let me go ahead and open up the parts, sort them out, and then I'll show those to you. Okay, so here are all the parts. This right here is the funnel. Nice deep funnel too. Has a permanent screen on here, so this is non-removable. It's pretty deep. It's made out of metal. It's powder coated. Nice. Here you can see the threads are pretty deep, so this should not move at all once it's on the drain pipe. This right here is the drain pipe. It's all one piece. This part right here goes inside the actual tank, and then you lift it up and down to adjust it to the height that you need. Okay, this end is threaded so that this ball valve goes on top of here, and then the funnel screws on top of the ball valve. And what you do is you will close this when you pressurize the tank to prevent air and whatever's in the tank from shooting back up through the actual funnel there. Over here, these are the rear wheels. They're over 4 inches in size. These are the front swivel casters. These are over 2 inches in size. I'm actually not going to be using these. I'm going to be replacing them with 2.5 inch swivel casters that's going to have locks on them. And the reason why I need that is because our garage floor is angled, and this is going to move if I don't have locking casters on here. Because that was one of the issues I had with my Harbor Freight 5 gallon drain dolly. This right here is the locking knob for the actual drain rod there. Then you have cotter pins here for the rear wheels. You have the nuts for the swivel casters. They even provide you with Teflon tape right here, which I will not be using. You have the drain tube here, and one of the things I really like about this, outside of it, this being high tempered plastic or rubber, this tube, it actually has a ball valve on here. So when I'm actually draining fluid out of the tank, I close this once the whatever tank just putting this in, so that it doesn't keep flowing through. Because one of the things with doing my research on the other oil drain tanks is that, or dollies, is that once you shut the air off to the tank is still pressurized and fluid is still flowing through here, and then you end up making a mess. So with this being on here, it allows you to cut off the flow of fluid, and so you won't have a mess like that, which is, I really like that. And then also this one, as you can see, the end of it is, I like the curve of it, so I can hook it inside of the container. I don't have to worry about it falling out. But then also you can use this with pretty much any container, like the one with Harbor Freight. On the end of it here, it's like really wide, so you have to use a wide mouth container, which I don't have any of those. So I really feel this is much better. These are the instructions, if that's what you want to call them. It gives you the parts here. You flip it over, and then that's how you use it. All right. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using to seal all of the threads on all of the parts. I prefer to use this over Teflon tape because it's faster, less messy, and it doesn't like dry and crack and get brittle. You can actually unthread something and then put it back together and it'll seal right back up. I'm also going to be using my own air chuck. It came with its own, which doesn't work with my system, so I'm going to use my own here. Okay, so it comes with its own regulator. All right, this regulator is not in PSI. Okay, so what it is in is KGF. So this tank can be pressurized up to 0.3, or I'm sorry, 3 KGF. This is the regulator knob here. You pull it out to make adjustments, and then you push it back in to lock it. This was already installed on here, and one of the things I noticed inside is that it has two gaskets in here, rubber gaskets. One's at the top and then one is towards the bottom there. So that should prevent leaks. I don't know if it's going to be airtight or not. I'll show that to you because I'm going to fill this up with water. I hope so, but we'll see. And this is where the actual air chuck goes. I don't like this setup. I'm thinking I'm going to go with a 90-degree elbow, push it over to the side and do it that way. Fortunately, I don't have this size here, so I'll have to do that later. This right here is the emergency release valve. This actually, the plastic piece, as you can see right here, it actually is cracked. I mean, it's not going to do anything as far as where it's not going to function, but yeah, I noticed that that was cracked. But everything else actually looks really good. I like the welds. I have the handles welded on here. It has nice welds going all the way around the tank. I mean, it looks really good. And the tank is powder coated. Okay. and looking at the way the drain hole is, this is not going to empty out everything, at least unless you tilt the tank, because this is above the bottom and there's nothing underneath. So there's like on a air compressor tank where you have the drain on the bottom. This one doesn't have that. All right, so let me go ahead and get this put together and then I'll come back. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart. Luke chapter 6 verse 45. All right, so I got it all together. It took about, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. Didn't take long at all. So as you can see, got the casters on there, which, you know, they work pretty good. You know, I kind of would have preferred to have all swivels, but none of the ones I've seen on the internet actually have that, which isn't a problem. Went on ahead and hooked the drain tube on the actual funnel here, and right now I have it at its lowest height, and so I just want to give you a measurement. So that's roughly 38 inches. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and raise it up. I already have this loose. One of the things I will say though, I don't know if it's because it's new, but it's not that easy to raise this up. Okay, let me see it to make sure. Nope, you can't see it in the video. Alright, there we go. Alright, so this is the maximum height. Let me give you a measurement for that. And this is roughly about 61.5 inches. So that's the maximum height. And obviously you can do any height in between those two. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get my water hose and I'm going to fill this up. And we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I've got my water hose here. Everything's all set up. So the things that you want to make sure to do is you want to make sure that the ball valve is open, that's on actual underneath the funnel. And then you want to make sure that the ball valve on the drain tube is also open, because this tube lets you know how much fluid is actually in the tank. Okay, so I'm going to start filling it, and I'm going to you know what, yeah, I'm gonna start filling just so you can see the flow, but then I'm gonna pause the video and come back once I'm done filling it. Okay. All right. Alright, so as you can see, it's actually going down pretty good. Yeah, it's going down pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill this up, and then I'll come back. So I'm all done filling her up, and as I had said before, you know, about people making mention that there's still fluid down in the bottom. You know, you can see it's not a lot, but you can definitely see it. And I mean, the reason why is because this part is lower than the actual drain here. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not, but you know, it's okay. Other thing that I noticed is when this valve right here was closed, the water, because this is the only way the water can go down, and then once it starts filling up in the tank, there's no place for the air to go that's already in the tank. And what ended up happening was it actually shot up when I had adjusted this up a little bit. So what I did was I opened the valve, the regulator here, and the valve, and that allowed the air to come out of here and it made it much faster for it to drain, because it was draining like really slow. Okay, and then remember I said about this is basically will let you know how much fluid is in the tank. So right now this is how much fluid is in here. Right, this right here started leaking, but I had took this off in order to thread the elbow on there, so I tightened that up and no leaks. So now I'm going to go ahead and pressurize the system, which I am going to close this valve here. I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to close this one here, which is negative, because I want it to be closed. Okay, and then I'm going to hook my air up to it. Sorry about that, guys. While I was recording, I ended up having a family emergency that I had to attend to, so I ended up having to leave the house, and now I'm just finishing up with my recording. So I've already filled up the tank with water, and right here you can see how there's water still right here, and that's because this area is below the actual drain here. So this, I don't know how big of an issue this is going to be, but I'm pretty sure oil is going to collect right here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this valve here. I'm going to make sure this is tight. I've already have the regulator all the way closed, and also if you notice I actually switched the regulator around. So what I did was I removed the safety valve here, which was underneath, and I just switched it around. So this actually works a lot better. I will tell you though that they put red Loctite on here, so it was really hard trying to break these free, but I didn't damage anything. As you can see, I have my channel locks on here, but that's all the damage that was done. Okay, and then down here I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close this too, because when I pressurize the tank I don't want fluid coming out. Okay, so I've got my air hose here. It's got about 70 psi coming through the line, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the drain hose and I'm going to put it inside of this container. And actually I'm going to move this over here. So one of the things that I noticed you got to be careful of is that if there's nothing in the container, which most likely it's not, just make sure you maneuver this in the area where it's not going to tip over once it starts filling. Okay, and so I'm going to turn the regulator. Oh, another thing too, I already have this open. You want to have this closed here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open it now, and then I'm going to slowly apply pressure to the tank. And sorry about the noise, I'm outside in the backyard, and so it's like it's really windy today. Okay, so now you can probably hear the air now, and if you take a look down here, I'm still turning the valve. I'm going to keep turning it because right now the tank has to pressurize to push the fluid out. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. I got to turn this off, so I got to turn this on. I gotta open this. And see, that's what would happen. Let me try that again. Take two. Okay, I end up closing the valve here, alright, as well as the regulator. I'm gonna open this. The tank is already pressurized, so you're going to see fluid coming through here, and I'm going to open this real slow. See it start filling up. See that? So depending on how much pressure you got coming into here will depend on how fast this flows. But the great thing is that See, the valve is off, so there's no air going into the tank. You can regulate it by this here. So if I stop it, you see that? You see how it stops? And then I open it back up, and again, you see that? So I really like the tank. Like I said, the only thing is you know, these casters, which that's not against the manufacturer. I just, you know, like the locking casters better. And then you know, this right here, which, like I said, I don't know, I may try to use my bench press to maybe try to press this down a little bit so that all of this can kind of fall in there. And then once I'm done with everything, to release the pressure, once all the fluid is drained out, you could just use the release valve here, because it's really not a lot of pressure in there. You know, so yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. All in all, I still, you know, I really like this. I'm glad that I had an idea to change that around so that works better. So until next time, you guys have yourself a blessed day.